Hey team, happy Wednesday. Hey Lisa, is that a Guinness apron you're wearing? Yes, it is. Why is that? Well, as many of you know, today is my birthday, and this was an absolutely fantastic gift from a friend of mine, so thank you very much, Erin. So because it's my birthday, I'm actually hosting a bunch of friends tonight to come over and watch Game 4 of the Leafs. Pray for me. And so I am putting together my usual spread. But there are a couple of sort of new additions that I'm going to be throwing in, and they are a mango salsa and a fresh Pico de Gallo. Now, I do have a lot of friends that have some, dietary restrictions, or they're vegan or whatever, so I just like to have at least one option for everybody, and not to mention Pico and mango salsa are absolutely delicious. So I think that they're going to be a hit for everybody regardless of, what they can and can't eat. Now, both mango salsa and Pico de Gallo are insanely easy to make. It actually only takes a handful of ingredients to make each one. And so the great thing about them as well is that after you have the base ingredients, like the tomatoes or the mangoes, all of the other elements can be, sort of tweaked based on your own preference. So the amount of lime juice you want to use, if you want to bump up the heat in both, you can use either more or less jalapenos. And so I'm going to show you kind of the basic ingredients, but the rest is all up to you. So starting off, we're just going to get a couple of mangoes chopped pretty fine into a bowl. Everybody has kind of their different way of chopping mangoes. I personally find that this sort of grid technique tends to work the best, but again, you do you. And you want to make sure that you dice them up in kind of nice bite-sized pieces so that you can either scoop them up with nachos or, if you're using it as a topping or something, you don't want these big, huge chunks of mango. So these ones are pretty reasonable. But again, if there's any that are bigger, you can just kind of cut them in half. So the next thing we're going to add in here is red bell pepper. Because I've only got a couple of mangoes in there, I'm only going to use half. Save the other half for, a salad or something, whatever. And we're going to cut up the pieces similar sizing to the mangoes. Those two, you kind of want similar sized bites. Just makes it overall, I guess, the ratio a little bit better. But when we start cutting up the onions and the jalapenos, we're going to chop those even just a little bit smaller because getting a big chunk of either one of those is kind of unpleasant. Next big thing is a red onion. Now this is literally the smallest one I could find, and it is comically large. And so we're actually only going to use maybe about a third of it, and we're going to dice it up really small. Now the last couple of things that go into the mango salsa are cilantro, lime juice, and jalapenos, which also all go into the Pico de Gallo. So instead of chopping them up and finishing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop up the tomatoes and the white onion for the pico, and then I'm going to do the cilantro, lime juice, and jalapenos all at once. So we've got our tomatoes and onion all chopped up. So now, because we've got lime juice, jalapeno, and cilantro going into both, I'm just going to chop up a big batch and kind of spread them evenly. I love cilantro, so I like going a little bit heavy on that. If you don't like cilantro, or if you're one of those people that, has the genetic thing and it tastes like soap, I don't know what to do for you. So. And just a note, when you are chopping jalapenos, if you leave the seeds in it, it's going to be much, much spicier. I love a good kick, but for salsas, I tend to leave the seeds out just because I find that their texture isn't as nice. But when you are handling hot peppers, make sure you immediately wash your hands afterwards. Don't touch your face or your eyes, otherwise everything is just gonna burn. And to finish everything off, we're just gonna add a touch of salt to the pico. Mango salsa doesn't really need it. And then a big, generous squeeze of lime juice into each one. and make it ooh so lovely and fresh. Use your muscles. I've been working out, can't you tell? And then give it a really, really good stir afterwards. And look at how fabulous they look. The mango salsa is just so colorful and beautiful. But how do you know if they taste good? Taste test, baby. Let's see. Mango salsa first. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And now the pico. I'm gonna add just a touch more lime juice into each one, but otherwise these babies are good to go, and I need to make sure I don't eat it all before people show up. Have a good night, guys, and go Leafs go!